Once again with a good one. What we got for them this time?
Okay, what is up, y'all? We are actually gonna do like a small review to one of Stef Woke Up's new videos, and it's probably not gonna be new by the time we post this video.
Yeah.
But regardless, she's reading a book that I'm kind of interested in. It's called Drunk with Blood, and it's basically comparing God's killings to Satan's killings, which I believe is very interesting. And just a disclaimer to our Christian subscribers, you're probably not going to like this video, so just click off of it.
Right, and if not, if you want to learn more about Christianity or the Bible, go and watch it, because everybody claims to be, open-minded.
Yeah.
Well, to be open-minded is to be willing to be wrong, or to learn something about what you already believe. Or
even just being able to look at things from a different perspective. Because I know me, while I was a Jehovah's Witness, like, there was nothing that you could tell me about God being bad. You know what I mean? Like, if there was any kind of punishments that he was, bringing about, then we brought that upon ourselves.
Yeah.
It wasn't like... it was a discipline from love, like they say. Tough love is what God was showing us.
Yep, so everything was earned and deserved, regardless of what it was.
Exactly. So this just gives a different perspective, and we're just going to highlight a few parts of her video, because she actually said that she's going to be making a series while she's reading this book, which I think that's something that I'm going to be tuned into.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be pretty interesting. If you guys want to check out her entire review of just the introduction, then go to her page.
Yeah, we'll drop it in the a link to this video that she did in our description.
For sure. This video is interesting because it's like, this is something that a lot of atheists end up going through, is that they all, and I feel like atheists sometimes are so misunderstood, especially by other Christians and other religions. But most of the time they have taken a very deep dive into the Bible, and that's what leads them to their understanding of not having a belief in God, because it's like everything that they have taught us about what God is and who God is, like, it's right in front of me and it's being proven wrong.
Right.
And meanwhile, on the flip side, you can ask a Christian so many questions and they just repeat back what they have heard. But they haven't gone in and done the study and the research for themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's something that I think that they're really misunderstood about. But I do believe that the Bible is a lot more morbid than we make it out to be. Just like how they did with the Bible story book, and drawing all of these pictures of these terrible stories. They were awful stories, and you're giving this to kids to digest and regurgitate.
Yeah. People being eaten by dogs and falling out windows and people being beheaded. Like, this stuff is not like, even the stuff kids watch on TV is rated. TVY, TVG, PG-13, need to be at least 13 for this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then that's something funny about Jehovah's Witnesses, is we used to not be able to watch anything, was it over PG-13?
Yep.
Anything over PG-13 was like off limits. We're not supposed to watch it. But the things they were teaching us was rated R.
For real.
Okay? Killing people's families. Like, I always remember the story of the two women with the baby. They were fighting over the baby, and the king's like, okay, well, if you guys are going to keep fighting over him, I'll just cut him in half.
Yeah,
and, like what?
Stuff like that is not for kids.
Like, how was I learning that at such a young age? Like, those were crazy stories.
But that's to indoctrinate the children with fear. At an early age. But that's just part of it.
Yeah, it really
Ever been done before, which is a shame since God is so proud of his killings. You don't believe me? Well, here, I'll let him tell you directly. At Deuteronomy 32, 39 through 42, he says, and I'll write it here on the screen somewhere, right here. I kill, I wound, I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh. Bible believers, on the other hand, are less proud of God's killings. Oh, they like a few of them. Noah's flood, Sodom and Gomorrah, Jericho. Those that can be made with considerable dishonesty into cute children's stories. But the rest are either completely ignored or completely unknown to believers. I believe that most believers would stop believing in the Bible if they knew what was in it. And this is particularly true of God's killings. All of the stories are absurd from a historical standpoint. They could not have happened the way they are told in the Bible. But what is even more damning is their unspeakable cruelty and obvious immorality.
The other part is where they start talking about God praising his killings, and I've never noticed it in this way before, but the way that it comes off in the Bible is like very arrogant, okay? Like, oh, I have the ability to do this and I can do this and look at what I did here. Boom, Sodom and Gomorrah. Boom, Noah's Ark. Like all these things, all these stories that they have where God wiped out the earth or wiped out a city, wiped out a nation.
And this goes into a whole nother dialogue on why people say the Bible is a man-made book, because this sounds like the people that were colonizing and trying to conquer the countries at the exact same time period, them taking people's lives, them bragging, oh, we took out this many soldiers, or we did this to this land or this village, and coincidentally forcing people to, enslaving people and forcing them to accept this book. And it's like all the arrogant qualities of these white supremacists
and colonizers
sound just like how they described this God to be: a jealous God, a God of vengeance, all of these things. And it's just like, that's why a lot of people don't believe in this stuff.
And having the ability to wipe out. Look at what is happening today. Yeah. Look at nations being wiped out. This is stuff that is foretold in the Bible, right? But when did the Bible come to be? Those are all important questions, because a lot of this happened Christianity took a huge sweep over the world during the era of colonialism. Through
violence. If you didn't want to become a Christian, they would take your life away. They had to do it. They literally used violence to spread it across the world.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a loving father thing. Like, it should just be natural.
Yeah.
Peace just comes naturally. You don't have to force peace on the people.
Exactly. And remember recently they even tried, or not recently, but they tried doing that in Ethiopia, and they were like, no, I'm good. Like, we're good on this religion.
Yeah.
But this is important things to know, is like things that are a part of history, because we say this all the time. Like, I am not an atheist, okay? I believe that there is a higher power. I believe in God, but not in the way that the Bible has made God to seem, okay? Like, I believe in God being everything, all things, balance, omnipresence, harmony, like truth, like love, all of these things. And the truth is, the way that God is depicted in the Bible is not those things
at all. And you have to be open-minded to admit. It's like having, a friend or a family member. It could be like a toxic parent, and it's like you don't want to admit it, so it's and you make an excuse. Or it could be like a spouse. It's like, hey man, that girl that you were, she ain't no good. Oh no. And the person that sees all the red flags will make all the excuses, like, no man, she was with her friends last night. Like, bruh, she went to the club and ain't come home till this morning. No, that's the excuses people make for God.
Yes. And this is such a taboo topic. We understand that. And if we still have Christians watching us up until this point, listen, we love y'all, okay? It's not that we want to speak out badly about any of your beliefs. If you want the beliefs, keep the beliefs, but we're going to talk about what our truth is and things that we find interesting too, because leaving such a strict cult the way that we have, we should be allowed to learn about different aspects of things and learn about different perspectives, different points of views, all the things, even when it comes to free will, right? We have free will, right? So we need to talk about that, because again, with the vocabulary of the Bible versus what something really is important.
Yeah, you need to look these things up. So, like they're gonna say, you got free will to do that. We can watch things and go, oh, okay, but not have to believe it. But we can sit there and listen and understand where people got their viewpoint from. But a lot of Christians don't want to understand or don't want to look at the facts. But if we got free will, we should do it. So we can kind of look at like you said, what free will is.
Yes, because the definition in the Bible of free will, or even the way that Christians will regurgitate free will, it's like, well, you know, you're free to make your own decision. You just know that you have the consequences because, hey, if you make this decision, then you got to deal with the consequences. But is that what free will is? No. Let's look at the definition.
Now, if you think about free will, free, we even mentioned, like, if I say, you know, here's anything in my kitchen, get you something to eat, and you come back with a turkey sandwich, and I flip my lid on it, you were not free to get that sandwich, regardless if I said you were free to it. So free will, the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. That means you are free to go in this kitchen and get whatever you like, and it is okay.
Yeah, that is not the free will that I was taught as a Jehovah's Witness.
No, or any type of Christianity as a whole.
No, yeah, that's true. The free will that we are taught is like, okay, yeah, you're free to make your own decision, but just know that that decision is going to lead to total destruction of you.
Yep, you're going to get tortured, or you're going to get your life taken away from you if you don't do what I say. That's literally a threat or extortion. And especially if what you have is the truth, people should just be able to roll with it.
Yeah.
It's that simple, but it shouldn't be follow my rules or I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Let's
be real. That's what is taught in the Bible. Like that is the kind of free will that is taught in the Bible. Even from the first day, from the story of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Oh, you are free to all of this except for this. Just don't eat off of this tree. Yeah. Or else.
That's not free will. Nope, that's given. And just think about somebody being, like people always say, well, I didn't put a gun in your head and make you. All right, so if somebody is held at gunpoint being robbed, do they have free will, honestly? Give me your money or else, ABC? That's not free will. That means, all right, free will is you can give me your money, or if not, it's cool. You just going about your day. You have the free will to get robbed or not get robbed and still be okay. But that's how the Bible sounds.
Yeah.
It's possible to believe in the Bible once you have read them. Okay, now we are to our first heading. How many did God kill? Here's the total. If you use only numbers that are provided in the Bible, it's 2,821,364. It says, for a complete list of God's killings with biblical number and estimate for each killing, see the table on pages 291 and 297. So, back here in the back, I don't know if you could see that. Yeah. There's several pages of, charts.
That's a lot of numbers.
That's almost 3 million people. And that's just based off of actual numbers that the Bible was given, according to this book. I think it's really interesting that somebody even decided to do such a deep dive into the Bible to make a book then out of it, Because
the Bible's a big book. So this took a lot of time and research to actually put something like this together.
Yeah.
And what we could do, instead of putting this on God, put it on another person. Like, say a nation goes and wipes out another nation and wipes out almost 3 million. You will look at them as the most evil people.
That's happened before.
Yep, it happens. And how do you view people like that? Oh man, that was terrible. That was, all the world must be coming to an end. They did that much. But yet when it's in the Bible, now it's justified.
Yeah.
And especially if, all right, God is all knowing and he's perfect and he knows what's happening with life.
And he's depicted as all good as well. We can't leave that part out.
Exactly. So why do you need to wipe out this much of your creation? There's a flaw somewhere in here to where you made this and then had to get rid of it. Didn't think a art contest or something like that, and you get one shot to paint this portrait.
Yeah. And
you got to keep starting over and like, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're not as good as these other artists that can one take it. Think about when you get your character done, and they draw the cartoon, and you sitting there for 3 hours because they got to keep starting over. You look like, man, you're not that good at your work, man. What's going on?
Yes, and this is all based off of one person's mistake, technically. How can you damn an entire
nation?
Yeah, and generation after generation after generation off of one person's mistake. Like that's not cool.
No,
especially it's your creation. That's like literally. Oh, my mom kind of used to do this to us whenever we were a kid. Like if if we broke something or something and none of us wanted to admit that we broke it, all of us got whoopings.
Yeah.
You know, it was a thing like that. But I don't know. It's just messed up in that aspect. And I always like to think about this too, is that at the beginning, the tree was called the tree of knowledge of good or evil. Right. So that implies that they didn't have that knowledge. They didn't have the knowledge of good and evil. So already you're setting them up to fail. Because if they only have the knowledge of nothing but good, how can you expect them to truly know what the evil will come with?
Definitely. Like we use the example of a hot stove and a baby. A baby has never experienced hot or burnt before. And so them going to the stove, you say, don't touch that stove, you won't get burnt. What is burnt?
What does that mean?
I don't understand the concept of that.
Never experienced.
And then once you do it, and then not only do I tell you not to do that, I go turn the stove on, and then I walk out the room and I'm peeking around the corner to see, all right, I know any moment now you're going to walk up to that flame that you've never seen before, and you're going to stick your hand in it, and then you're going to get hurt. And then I'm going to whoop you for doing it. Yeah. No, that's not making any type of sense from a human aspect, let alone a perfect God
aspect. Yes. And if even in those kind of situations, it's like, okay, the kid is going to touch the hot stove, but they'll never do it again. Okay, so that's something small to damn and generation after generation after generation. I think that discipline has been taken way too far.
Especially if that kid becomes an adult, and then as soon as they have a baby, you whoop the baby in the delivery room. Yeah. Because now your mama, when she touched the stove when she was little, so I'm about to beat you and punish you the rest of your life.
And to keep going. Yep. Their kids, and then the kids after that. You know, like that is wild.
It is. But people accept it. We deserve to go through this.
Like, no, actually, I didn't make that mistake. So.
No, that was somebody else in the book.
And another thing to think about is if we were made in the image of him, right? Then we were made to have all of these other qualities that he may have. So does that mean he also has some of these evil qualities, like the jealousy, the anger, the curiosity, you know, like all of these the fear? Does he also have these qualities? If we're made in his image, like where did these qualities come from?
Somebody had to create it.
So why even create us with those qualities?
In the first place. Unless it's like, people say this is just one big sick game.
That's what it sounds like.
Yep.
So that's what he's referring to. Okay. Now the next subheading. Who has killed more? Satan or God? How many did Satan kill in the Bible? He says, I can only find 10. And even these he shares with God, since God allowed him to do it as a part of a bet. I'm talking about the 7 sons and 3 daughters of Job, killing 133. Okay, and then he quotes Job. He quotes several, passages in Job. I won't go through all of those.
The good old story of Job. This is something that I never understood, even when I believed in Christianity and all that. It's like, all right, at the end of this story, God felt like he needed to test Job to prove a point. And with him losing his cattle and losing his family, God blessed him with a new family. Like, no, that never sat. Like, I just pushed it to the back of my mind, but it's like, how do you wipe out somebody's family? And just like, well, even though you had all these memories and moments with these people, here goes some new people, and now we even. Like that no.
And why use people as collateral damage just to prove a point? Like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? Even from a human standpoint, I don't like that. That's literally like if your dog was to have puppies and you kill all the puppies just to see if the dog is going to stay loyal to you and not bite you or anything. You know what I mean? You kill them all in front of them. Yeah. Like that's
why
not
is that
right.
necessary?
Even we know that is like unethical. And why, if you are all knowing, then you know that servant is going to stay faithful to you in the end, right? Because you're all knowing. So why would you even punish a good faithful servant in that way?
And this is the kicker, because this is the answer you get with Christians. Well, God had to prove to those watching, the angels and Satan.
Don't use me to prove anything.
And then, but this is the thing. The angels have been in heaven with God for how long? Mm-hmm. Then you have the servants of God, the Christians. Mm-hmm. If they believe in God, just from this little living up to hopefully, if you're lucky, 100 years old, in that short time span, you put all your faith in this God and you know what he's capable of, and you ain't never seen him, you ain't never talked to him, yet the ones that's in heaven with him, he got to prove a point to them. Yeah. Or Satan that he's known from way back, he got to prove a point to him.
That's ego. Exactly. And at this point, like, is this your character? Is this actually who you are? Or did you allow somebody that is beneath you, for one, because that's always said in the Bible, somebody who is a negative entity, for two, because that's how Satan is depicted, as a negative entity. Why would you allow this entity to take you out of your character? If your character is to be all good and to be just and to be loving. Like, this is not loving. To kill 3 million people versus Satan killing 10 people as part of a bet with God. They share those 10 people. They share those 10. She broke it down perfectly. Yeah. Like, that is... But you're still depicting this entity to be so evil, and all he's trying to do is mislead all of the good servants, you know. But like, if you have a true relationship with your God, then you're not going to be misled
at all. And why would you feel the need to take them just out of this bet? You take somebody that's loyal to you and use them as the bet, and to hurt this person that's loyal to you.
Yeah,
and
as collateral.
As collateral, that's not fair at all.
And then the family being completely innocent.
Yep.
What did the family do?
Nothing at all. And yet, to this day, whenever something happens to somebody innocent, oh, that's the devil. Doesn't sound like it.
Sounded like both. Like, did they say that during those times? Because at that time, it wasn't just the devil. It was both of them.
Exactly.
Because God is the one who allowed it to even happen. Like, if I have a child that is like the best child, you know, never, like, always wants to please me, never wants to disappoint me, you know, why would I make their life a living hell?
For what reason?
Yeah, what's the point of that?
I guess to kind of wrap this up, this is just one of her segments. She's about to do a whole series, so make sure y'all tap in with Stef Woke Up.
Yeah.
Because this is going to get way more detailed. This is just kind of like the introduction. But a lot of people asked, you know, how come a lot of people leave the organization and they stop being Christians? We talked about it before, because you learn when you have been lied to about something you've been told is the complete truth. Nothing on this planet is more true than this, and you find out it's not true. You either do one or two things. In fear, you run and find something else as a blanket to hide under, to be like, okay, this just works for me, and I don't need to research nothing else. I'm gonna just roll with this. Or you question everything you come across because you're like, I'm not about to get finessed again. Yeah. Let me just figure out if this is the truth or not. And I've been bamboozled before, so I know what clues to look out for. I know what questions to ask. And if my answers are not given, I'm not rocking with it.
And you know what? The truth is, having questions and asking questions is uncomfortable.
Very.
Because the answer that you want is not always the answer that you're going to get.
Every time.
And so you have to be open to the result being something that you weren't expecting. And that is uncomfortable.
It is. Especially if there is no answer for your question. And it's just like, you know what? Nobody has the proof to that. And most people fear, that was one of my fears, is what if I find out this ain't the truth? Then, because my mind is like, I'm not going to know what to do. I'm going to feel lost, and I don't want to feel lost. So I'm just going to believe whatever, even if it doesn't make sense. But it just led to me realizing it's okay with not having the full answers. Yeah. Maybe it's not meant to have those answers at this part of life, or whatever happens after this life. We don't know for sure because we here.
Yeah, that's the truth. I watched this podcast called It's Giving, and Sarah from there always says people will cling more onto their beliefs than the truth.
Yep.
And that is so accurate and so true, because you go through the process of cognitive dissonance. So if it's not aligning with everything that you have ever known to be true to you, then it's gonna shake your entire like moral code, your entire core beliefs, and that is that's like going down a huge rabbit hole, because then what do?
Yep,
you know?
people rather just have faith in truth. Faith is more important than truth these days.
Yeah.
Yep, but we hope y'all like this. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of people that are on the same page, because a lot of us had to go through this journey.
Yeah.
And we've seen just from previous comments on videos that people are like, see, this is what I feel about, because we just talk about Jehovah's Witnesses, and people are like, this is how we feel about religion in general. And it's okay if you are a Christian, you don't have to agree with it. But
don't.
at the same time, if you want to be one of those Christians that go and argue with people, make sure you go and investigate the same thing that the people that you are arguing with have investigated.
Yeah, I don't even like arguing with people, because at the end of the day, like, you're gonna believe whatever it is that you want to believe. So believe that happily. Like, but don't feel like you need to come over here and change my mind. We're still gonna share what we find. You know what I mean? Things that, some different answers that we have found. It doesn't mean that they're right. You know what I mean? But it is nice to share. It's our platform, so we can share what we want. Yeah,
we're allowed to just look at things and go, this is interesting. That's it. Things can be interesting whether you believe it or not. It's just not. It's just dope to hear certain stories, especially things in history that is no proof. You can go, man, that's nice to listen to. That's crazy.
Yes.
And it's one of those, could be true, might not be true.
Yes.
Who knows?
I think a lot of us as XJWs are going through similar processes and similar journeys where we are navigating and learning new information, and it's just interesting. Like, look, like even Stef Woke Up, because I remember when she first started her channel, so even seeing her diving into different kinds of information is just so cool for me to watch. Like, oh, I want to know what you know.
For real, because everybody is interested or had questions that they've been putting on the back shelf for years, decades.
And it's taboo to talk about.
Yep, so let's talk about all of it. Why not?
I agree.
Yep, so let us know what y'all thought in the comments. You already know our Instagram. That's at Awakened Truths IG. We got to 300. Hopefully more. Will be more by the time this video out.
400.
400. By the time this is out on TikTok at Awakened Truths LLC.
And we have our healing journals. We have the normal version and the PMO version that doesn't have any writing on the outside.
Yep.
So make sure to check those out. The protest on September 13th. Will that be? Yeah, by the time we put this video out, it'll still be happening. Right. And that's about it.
Yep, don't forget what?
To like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch y'all in the next one.
Peace.